RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderHD. BlenderHD, if you want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Wednesday, October 23rd. And we'll be taking a first look at the NFL Week 8 slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. So hit that thumbs up button on your way in the door. Hit the thummy thumbs. You know I might like those. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Join with me most Wednesdays. It's Alex Santi for what happened at Week 8. No buys. Just like all of a sudden, it's just like no game in Europe. No, there's no double Monday Night Football or something, and now everyone's playing as well as everyone being hurt.
And all the games suck.
Not all.
not totally suck. But there are a lot of blowouts looking at. It looks like there are going to be a lot of blowouts in this slate, and it could be the sheer quantity of it that maybe I'm a little like, wow, there's a blowout there, there's a blowout there. This team can't score 18 here. This, there's just a lot of that going on. It could just be the size of the slate that's making it. This is the first look, so I was a little floored by all the totals that are under like 19.
I mean, there are good games. I mean, you make it sound
there
like
are a couple good games.
I mean, we have 13 games to choose from.
We have enough to work with. We have more than enough to work with. Thank God there are no buys because we have a lot to work with.
Right. I mean, if we take a look at the first look, I'll throw this up on the screen. Let's see. There we go. So yeah, this is the first look page. You can get it for free on RotoGrinders. I mean, this is part of our free content on RotoGrinders.com. But obviously, you want to get the premium content. And we have a special new combo light package, which is SimLabs, which is our simulation product, which, I mean, you see around the industry, they get to be very expensive. Ours is one of the most affordable. You get that for all the 4 major sports plus all of our premium written content. And that's for one low price of $39.99. So hit that thumbs up button. Hit the link in the description. Hit everything. Just hit it. If you see it something on your screen, just hit it. It'll take you there, get you more information. But we see the first look. I mean, we have games 51 total, 47.5 total, 47.5 total. I mean, we got Saints Chargers. Like that's we have some kind of crud. Jets Patriots.
We had some wide spreads. There are some wide spreads on here.
Right, but there are some, like the Jets Patriots game has a low total, but the Jets still have a 24-point implied total, right? We have the Chargers, 39.5 total, but I mean the Chargers have a 23.5 implied total. I mean, like there are some decent sized, teams on the slate and some interesting games. The Texans 26 implied total, and Lions, even though they're like an 11-point favorite. The Ravens are a 10-point favorite. They have a healthy total. But I think that the main issue on this slate, and we'll go position by position and take a first look. Right, this is just we're looking for like cash game type of build, single entry value. Like what's going to be the chalk? What's the best projections on the slate? And there's a lot of stuff that needs to be updated throughout the week because we got a whole ton of injury news coming through. I have the blitz projections up because our regular RotoGrinders projections still have some people that are pretty much dead that are not going to play on Sunday. So I just wanted to throw on. But the blitz didn't. Cardi has not made manual usage changes. So like this isn't like accurate projections, but it's close enough. But it's a 13-game slate. First off. And I think the 2 major points on this slate, as far as Eric Beimfor would say at 11 a.m. on the Sunday block, like, what are the main, points? Like, what do you have to make the main decisions on? Like, there's one guy that's going to be 40% owned. There's some stack that's going to be extremely chalky. There's a defense that, what are you doing? What are you doing with the cheap running back? What are you doing with, that type of stuff? What are these major points? I think there are 2. One is going to be all the value wide receivers with some of these injuries. Okay, because we have the Tampa wide receivers, we have the Cleveland wide receivers, even if you want to consider them. I mean, we got we don't have San Francisco on the slate, so we don't have to worry about that until showdown. And then we also have the Miami Dolphins maybe getting Tua back. I'm assuming the line thinks that he's going to be playing because the Dolphins have almost a 25-point implied team total. I'm not sure if they would be favored over the Cardinals at home without Tua, with some type of Tim Boyle, Tyler Huntley, Skylar Thompson, whoever's not hurt at quarterback. And DraftKings just decided to not care and price all the Dolphins as if some guy off the street was starting at quarterback. Yeah. So we have to talk about these two things first.
Okay,
Alex,
the cheap wide receivers can be dangerous for cash. You can't just jam in two of them. A lot of times you kind of have to pick one of them, but if you jam in two of these $3,800 guys, there is an opportunity cost. It's not the same as running back, is what I'm saying. It's not the same as when a running back is injured, one guy's kind of banged up, one guy's going to get 15 to 18 carries, and he's 4,500. That's a different scenario than when wide receivers are out. You don't know the pecking order of wide receivers as well as we know the pecking orders of running backs. So, so you got Tampa up on the screen right now.
Right.
I mean, we've played the Sterling Shepard record many times, and it doesn't work out very well. When Mike Evans came out of that game, I think I had Shepard in, was that a night game?
Yeah.
What was the Tampa game? It was, because I had him in Showdown, and I was like, oh, here we go. I'm gonna get some pay dirt here, and nothing happened. Because sometimes that just happens with wide receivers. The wide receiver 3 doesn't just automatically become a wide receiver 1 who gets 8 to 10 targets. It could go to McMillan. It could go to Kate Otten. Like, we just don't know.
And also another thing is that the offense becomes less efficient, right? A lot of things
it can become a piece of crap.
Right. I say on the Friday
it becomes
show,
a total piece of crap.
With Squirrel Patrol, it's like sometimes it's like, oh, big receivers out, and it's like, oh, it's the Rams with a bunch of cheap people, and I go, it's like, well, do we rush out to play like Patriots receivers? I mean, they're always cheap,
no.
Right? No, we don't. I mean, do we rush out to play Titans receivers? And I'm like, it's just like, yeah, they very pass heavy offense with Baker Mayfield, but that's with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin at wide receiver. It's not only that the wide receivers could fail because they're not good enough. It's also that their entire play calling can change, right?
And you get the top corners from the other team. I mean, I don't know much about Atlanta's coverage, but instead of being covered by the number 3 or 4 guy, McMillan gets covered by the number 1 or 2 guy, and the offense is a little more, the defense is a little more planned out to stop that guy. It's not like let the number 4 guy trail through a zone and oops, he caught a pass for 8 yards. We'll take that. They're going to be out there to stop him from catching passes in the first place.
I mean, the perfect example of this is, I mean, Cleveland has an 18-point implied total. And, Amari Cooper isn't there. And we got like Judy Moore. Tillman came out of nowhere to catch balls. We don't know. Watson is done. DTR may not even. It depends on if Jameis Winston is throwing the ball.
If Jameis Winston is throwing footballs, we feel good about Jerry Jeudy because Jerry Jeudy can run wind sprints and catch long balls. I mean, this guy's he creates his own A-dot. There's some guys in the NFL who they can create their own A-dot, and we saw Jerry Jeudy with bums in Denver create a lot of air yards just with his legs. Jameis is a gunslinger. Jameis is a bomber.
Right. Well, that we'll talk about wide receiver first. Typically, we go in order: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, whatever like that. But since we're on these like cheap wide receivers or whatever, how much trust do you have? I mean, because I think value is going to be plenty. It's a 13-game slate, and we already have mispriced players. Like I think a lot of people are going to go to Jalen McMillan. But I mean, I think the thing about GPPs is, first off, I like playing teams that actually are going to score points and touchdowns. Yeah. Like I think both are, great. Maybe great median plays. Maybe you get Jalen McMillan gets 14 points, and it's like, okay, that's pretty good, right? Maybe you get Elijah Moore that gets 10 points. It's like, Like if you're playing double ups, I mean, that's perfectly fine. But the thing is that I almost feel, and this may be weird, even though the Browns have a lower implied total by 3 points, if Jameis Winston is at quarterback, I mean, compared to DTR, I mean, the way to attack the Ravens is passing anyway, right?
Yes.
So this is not like the type of, oh, Cleveland's going to be behind and throwing the ball a lot. Like that may be true also, but typically even in close competitive games, you're more likely to pass on Baltimore than, and they have no problem. I mean, we've seen them like give up hundreds upon hundreds of yards passing.
Yeah.
So I almost feel more comfortable playing a cheap Browns receiver than I do trying to guess if McMillan or Palmer or Shepard or any of those guys. I think the Tampa Bay guys are like the good floor plays, but I think from a ceiling perspective, I mean, Jameis Winston will throw 4 interceptions, but he'll have 160-yard pass to one of these guys or something like that. One of these guys could get to 20 points. Am I nuts for? I mean, I'll talk about it on Friday for GPP, but I almost feel more comfortable with the Browns receivers.
More comfortable than them, I feel comfortable with Devon Valet in Denver. Denver's supposed to put up a lot of points. Carolina is wow. I mean, the way people score points on Carolina is like a video game. And Devon Valet is kind of showing up as the number 1 receiver in that offense. Like the pecking order it's only been a couple of weeks that he's been active, but Bo Nix is looking for him. And that's what we want. We want touchdowns and we want a quarterback who's looking for a guy. And he's only 3,400. That's probably where I'm leaning in terms of the cheap receivers first, because I've seen it. I've seen the targets go his way. What was he at last week? I think he had 6. The week before.
They're garbage target. I mean, they're low A dot. I mean, he's like the one.
They're low A dot. Yeah, I mean,
right.
But yeah, I mean, we saw 3 targets. That was a weird game. That whole that was all Denver defense. They didn't have to do anything. Right. They ran but he got a lot of first looks. Cortland Sutton just isn't even there anymore. I mean, he's disappeared.
It seems like Troy.
So I was going to send out a search party.
More catches than he is. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, Cortland. We need a search party for Cortland Sutton. And I don't know if it's a Bo Nix thing. I don't know if it's a Sean Payton thing. They've got him running as a decoy. I don't know what the hell's going on, but something else could pop up in this Denver game where they're supposed to score some points.
I mean, only against the Panthers would the Broncos have a 26-point implied total.
That's big. That's like that for a wide receiver.
I mean, we're normally seeing the Broncos with 18, 19-point totals.
Yeah.
I think another person on the team is going to be more popular than any of these receivers. Yes. And we'll talk about that. We're still a wide receiver. I know we were talking about like the value wide receivers.
We should get to the Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle thing.
If Tua is in, how do you against the Arizona defense at home in Miami?
Yeah.
How do you not play Tyreek Hill at 7,000? Because in this spot, but like if this was week 1, week 2, Tyreek Hill would be 9,500 and still be 50% owned in cash games.
He was week 1. He was like 95% owned in cash games and like 45% owned in GPPs at close to at what, like 8,700 or whatever it was. So yeah, I mean, Tyreek Hill is just it's a lock in. I hate using the word lock, but I would press the lock button on Tyreek Hill probably in GPPs too, because I got to get over the field on it. 7K is just too cheap. We're not allowed to use certain words.
This is assuming that Tua starts.
This is assuming Tua starts, of course. And the projections look like Tua starting. Vegas looks like Tua's starting. The chatter says that Tua's starting. We're not seeing anything to the contrary. If anything, we're seeing the like, oh no, he's gonna die. You can't let him go out there. That's the chatter.
I mean, I also think that you could stack Waddle and Hill together. I mean, I'm not even talking about without Tua. I mean, like, it's quite possible. Like, even my double up lineup will have both these guys in it because I think Waddle is underpriced. I mean, Waddle probably should be 6,500. in a game like this. And just hope that Tua doesn't get another concussion. I mean, these guys should be able to hit their median pretty well against Arizona.
Yeah, and we're going to get to running back, but it gives us the opportunity to not be cost conscious at running back. And I think this week it would be nice to not be cost conscious at running back because, like I said, there are plenty of games. I was spoken hyperbole at the beginning of the show. There are plenty of games that will suck. And there are plenty of games with wide spreads where we're going to want running backs. So we can save on Hill, Waddle, and a $3,500 receiver and just move on to running back.
Well, the highest team total on the slate is Detroit, who's playing at home against Tennessee. 28.25 implied team total currently as an 11-point favorite. How much interest do you have in Amon-Ra St. Brown at 8,400? Jamison Williams is suspended for 2 games. I don't think that matters for St. Brown.
I don't think it matters for St. Brown.
Right.
Those aren't his targets.
Think all that does is help like Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond.
Yeah, they're different types of targets. And, something we saw from Detroit in a highly competitive divisional game against the Vikings, right? We saw Jahmyr Gibbs get 2 touchdowns, right? They're not going to abandon the run in a competitive game and just hand the ball to Jared Goff to take over. I played Jared Goff last week in GPPs because, for reasons, right? But I did not expect
Jared Goff right now, Alex, has a case for being MVP.
He's playing great. That's why I played him in GPPs last week. But I did not expect in a competitive game that they would run as much as they did. In a blowout, I expect them to pound the rock. So I'm not really loving Amon-Ra St. Brown at 8,400 to get 25 points. I think he could probably make get there, quote unquote, get there in terms of median points. But when we're looking at Tyreek Hill, when we're looking at Jalen Waddle, when we're looking at, there are other guys to spend some money on. I think Stephon Diggs against the Colts is a good guy if we want to go with the number 1 target. Drake London. Tampa. Tampa's they're not Carolina, but man, everyone can bomb on Tampa. And Drake London's just a high volume monster, especially the last 3 or 4 weeks. If we're going for a what might be a blowout situation, I don't know if this is going to be a blowout situation, but Vegas says that the Jets and Patriots are going to be a blowout situation. If you don't want to trust Devontae Adams yet, I think Garrett Wilson's a good guy for volume. There are just other options than Amon-Ra St. Brown for about $800-900 cheaper.
Right, and also I think that the line of construction, I'd rather almost have running backs towards that range.
Yes.
Than what you were already getting a 2K discount on Tyreek Hill as it is.
Yeah.
Like
I said, these wide receivers are giving us the opportunity to pay up at running back, and I think we should take that opportunity.
Right. I like guys like in the mid range more, like Brian Thomas Jr. at 6,400. Or Jaden Reed. I like that Packers Jacksonville game. That's dude, that has. I think that's the highest total in the slate. Right, according 51? To the first one, 51, right?
51, yeah.
So, I don't mind playing. The problem with that game, as we'll talk about on Friday, is that it's got a lot of options, right? It's like, okay, that game could go over, and then no one has a GPP winning score. Like, Jaden Reed has 18 points, but it's not like that didn't win you.
And,
it could be a winning lineup.
Yeah, and Dobbs could have 14 or 15, and Kraft could
Jacobs
have 12.
Has 17, and Brian Thomas has 19, and Kirk has 12, and then it's just like, these, you could have a lineup with some of these people in, but you didn't need to have anyone in this game, even though, there were 9 touchdowns total.
Yeah, there's the Evan Engram factor as well, which, I don't like playing Evan Engram, but he does take away from the others' volume. Yeah, it's a tough one for cash. I think in cash, I'm not going to avoid the Packers Jags, but I'm going to be avoiding the flex players, I will say.
Since tight end is kind of related to wide receiver, let's talk about tight end, and then we'll go to quarterback and running back. It's hard for me in cash games, at least, not to play K. Dotton at 3,500. Being that he already was playing all of the snaps. He was already it's not like he was like, the passing tight end that comes in every once in a while. Like, Like, dude, he was playing every snap as it is, and he was like the 4th or 5th target on the team. Now almost Kate Otten is in like the Brock Bowers situation. Like you take a look at Brock Bowers for the Raiders, and it's like, okay, Brock Bowers is a target monster. The problem is that he plays for a horrible team. I think Tampa Bay's, even without Godwin and Evans, are a better team than the Raiders. I'll pay $3,500 for a guy that probably, if it stays this way with their wide receiver core, could end up being more of a 5K, more like I view K. Dot more like, maybe not in obviously, player archetype, like David Njoku on like what happened with the Browns. It's like Amari Cooper's gone. They really have a smattering of no name. Jerry Jeudy has disappeared. Let's throw to the big guy in the middle that's athletic, and he'll just catch him, but he'll just make sure to at least take down some 8-yard passes. I feel like K. Dot may be that guy for the Bucs moving forward, at least until Evans comes back, if he does. I don't mind Njoku again. I don't mind going if Jameis is a quarterback. I don't mind going back to he was chalk last week. He's obviously now more priced.
He's 5,100.
I don't mind playing that either.
The thing with Otten, I think you just click the Otten button and not waste a lot of words, because 3,500, we're talking 6 to 8 targets, and we're not stretching. We're not liberally speaking here. 6 to 8 targets is like what he's going to get. And he gets red zone looks. They move him around before. Baker likes to move him around before the snap, I think, to see if it's man or zone. And he's been getting like 1-2 yard targets where he gets to 4 or 5 yards after the catch. These little like tight end screen things behind the line of scrimmage. So there's just so much volume there. We can't turn it down.
Right.
I have a child asking me. I have a child. Sorry. So you're gonna have to talk.
It's okay. You also got Kelsey there at 6K, although he was kind of disappeared the last game. That was a weird game against the 49ers. Trey McBride against the Dolphins. I really think it comes down to, like, if you're going to pay down, you're going to just play Kata. I think it's going to be one of these weeks. Typically, when a cheap tight end is chalk, you avoid it. Like, if Jatavian Sanders was chalk at 3,100, which he could be if Kate Otten was not on the slate. Those
Grant Calcaterra.
Right. Grant Calcaterra. Those types of guys, you could I'll play some other 3,200 tight end. No, I don't think that's the thing. I think you're either playing K. Dotton at 3,500 or you're paying up. Right? I don't think you're playing another, you're not going, instead of playing K. Dotton, I'm going to play I'm
not going to play Sam Laporta
or Hunter Henry or no, you're playing K. Dotton. Or you're paying up for Kelsey, Bowers, McBride, Engram, Njoku, some guy at much higher range.
Yeah, and I would X out Engram in there. I think it's Bowers, Kelsey, Otten, and that's about it.
Okay, let's go to quarterback, which is related to wide receiver, right? But we're talking primarily of single entry cash game, high projected lineups, so not necessarily stacks. We'll talk about that on Friday.
In cash, we can go naked, especially this week.
Right. Absolutely. Am I nuts? I'm gonna. This may be a nuts.
Okay.
If I told you this week 2 or 3 I was considering this as my cash game quarterback, you'd think I was nuts. But we talked about that game before.
I've got 5 guys, and we'll see if you name who I'm thinking of.
Okay, you got 5. You got 5 guys for cash games
who are playable. Yes.
Playable, right? I don't think any guy right now is you got to play this guy, right? That is the guy. But I think one is close, and that's the one that I'm scared the most about. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is great at 8K. If you could pay up for Lamar Jackson, good, go have fun and go do it. I don't think you need to. In cash games on DraftKings, you don't need to do that.
Agree.
Obviously, Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to list the people that I think are playable, and then I'm going to end with the guy that I think is the portion that I'm going to have in cash games. You got Trevor Lawrence there at 5,600. I think he's fine, right? I want to pay like Mahomes is there at 6,800. Jordan Love 7,100. These are playable guys. You can play Tua at 6,100 coming back because he probably should be like a $6,800 quarterback in this matchup.
Fine.
But I typically like to pay down. I never mind playing Geno. even though I'd rather kind of play running backs against Buffalo than passers. And I can't trust Anthony Richardson at all at 5,800.
I can't either.
The route
Not
to
on the
failure
road.
is right. It's just so high. I'm gonna play a Russian quarterback. That I don't know.
I think we're on the
never
same
really
guy.
considered a Russian quarterback kind of beforehand, but he's shown that he can do it. Is up against the worst defense in the league with a 26-point implied total.
Yeah,
5,600 Bo Nix cash games. What could go wrong, Alex? Bo Nix and cash. What could go wrong?
So Bo Nix is one of my guys because this guy is such a willing runner, and being like Aaron Rodgers, peak Aaron Rodgers was not the fastest quarterback in the league, but when he saw the blitz, he looked for holes in the blitz and he would scramble around and he would take off and he would score touchdowns. He would get first downs. Like, it's in the offense. It's in that Denver offense. If your read is off, just go. And he's a willing runner. The guy takes hits. It's a little scary to watch because I've played him a couple times because I'm scared he's going to get knocked out of the game because he's a very physical runner. But this guy's like automatic for 30, 40 rushing yards, right? Like,
and it's not, and it's
there's a touchdown possibility. There's a rushing touchdown possibility there. Sean Payton likes to run it on 4th and 1. He likes to run it on the goal line with a sneak. We can get a sneak touchdown in there. I'm very much with you on Bo Nix.
Right.
In the same price range. If you're a little uncomfortable with Bo Nix, I don't think going back to Geno is bad. Because of the yardage. I mean, they're throwing a lot with him recently, and he's accumulating yards. He's not accumulating the touchdowns, but the touchdowns can come any given week. I think that's a really that's going to be a competitive game. Their total is only 22, but they are at home, and it will be a competitive game that should go back and forth. If we're not playing Kenneth Walker, we're going to get to running back, but Geno Smith is a good way to go.
We see
that's kind of my next on the cheaper quarterbacks.
Right. We see here in lineup HQ that you could scroll over and you could see, player props that have been posted. Obviously, it's early in the week, so not all of them are out. But it's a way to compare kind of the projection to the market. We have all these other columns in lineup HQ. If you're a premium member here, so click on that link in the description. Get $40 off your first month of Combo Premium here at RotoGrinders. The quarterbacks that we normally think of as like the rushing quarterbacks that like, oh, this guy could score a rushing touchdown. Lamar Jackson plus 125.
125.
Okay. Josh Allen plus 110. Kyler Murray plus 150. Okay. So these are the guys that plus 150 is 40% chance. I mean, these are typically the touchdown props on these type. Josh Allen touchdown doesn't shock you. A Murray touchdown doesn't shock you. Lamar touchdown. Bo Nix is plus 160.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a shitty defense, and he's just such a willing runner. He's just such a willing runner. Not just a scrambler, scramble, drill, throw the ball away, throw an interception. Like, he's a willing runner past the line of scrimmage. I love that with the quarterback.
Right, especially with the Broncos receiving core, Alex. It's kind of like, Sutton didn't get that separation. And who else do I have to throw to? Troy Franklin and Devon Bell. I'm gone. Like 3 seconds are up. I got to get out of the pocket. I'm done. Right. That's the Bo Nix experience.
It's smart. It's a smart approach to a rookie quarterback.
Right.
There's nothing to throw to. Just get some yards.
But we're not interested in like I'm not playing like Rattler and Minshew and Rudolph and Dalt, like anyone in like the really cheap
no
range. I don't even think that's necessary. And obviously GPPs we'll talk about on Friday. You can do kind of whatever you want. But yeah, I'm leaning Bo Nix in cash games. Welcome to Bo Nix week on a 13 game slate.
I did say I have 5 guys. If there are 3 other guys and I've got some extra cash and I'm uncomfortable with Bo Nix, I'm probably going Bo Nix. And Geno Smith, I'm uncomfortable with the touchdown possibility. Kirk Cousins against Tampa. I mean, Kirk Cousins is like, he could be Geno Smith, right? For $300 more with an extra touchdown. Jordan Love, the interceptions are usually his downfall. He throws like 1 or 2 every week. It's extremely frustrating. But Jacksonville is freaking terrible. So if you take away those 1 or 2 interceptions, Jordan Love is definitely worth the 7,100 if we have the money. And then if you just want to go for a high total, a guy who might not get you 300 yards but could get you 3 touchdowns, whether or not you believe in Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff is totally fine.
Right. Yeah, he's got to the board.
Because he can get you 3 touchdowns. I mean, how many guys on this list are going to get you 3 touchdowns this week? So he's got a really good shot at getting 3 touchdowns.
No, I agree with that. Let's go to running back. As far as value running back, I don't see
I don't see it.
Oh, this is the really cheap. I mean, I think some of these running backs are underpriced to some degree. Okay.
Can we talk about Chuba Hubbard off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, I
think a lot of people are going to play him, and I can't do it with that spread. I didn't do it last week in cash either, and he got
bailed out by a touchdown at the end. He was essentially the dust.
So I played Saquon and Chubb in cash, which like no one did. So I did a lot of triple ups and quintuple ups. You know, my game selection changed from head to heads to like triple ups, 3-mans, 5-mans, because I knew that I was deviating heavily from the field. This could be a week if you don't feel comfortable with Chuba Hubbard, and a lot of people are playing him, and he has a lot of steam. You might want to rethink shifting some of your head-to-head volume to those bigger multipliers because you're going to be deviating from the field heavily.
I mean, my heuristic at running back for cash games, I tend to side teams that are favored, teams that have high implied team totals, and teams that have very consistent usage. Even if it's not like last week, I did play Pollard in cash. I mean, that was fine because he was the only guy in the back.
That's fine. Right. That's fine. Yeah,
that's fine. Like cash games, I'm fine doing that once, but not twice. Right? I'm not a big. That's why I like the Chuba Hubbard thing. Like James Conner as an underdog to the Dolphins at 6,500. They're giving him the ball a lot, but
we don't have to do it.
Right. I feel like the 2 cheaper guys that I would play would be like Javonte Williams at 6,000. With Denver having the problem is do I want to play a Bo Nix, Javonte Williams full, Broncos experience in cash games together? But I'm fine with Josh Jacobs at 6,600 with the Packers with a 27-point implied team total, even though, you got Wilson there also. And Breece Hall at 7,300. The Jets have a 24-point implied total against the Patriots. Even though Adams is there, it's like Breece Hall is he's the workhorse. He's getting the ball in the passing game. They're rushing him, and he'll easily have 20 to 25 touches and valuable touches in this game. Like I'm much more comfortable with that than like taking shots on like Rashad White at for pass catching work. And also, if I have a little bit extra money, Joe Mixon, the Texans are at home with almost a 26-point implied total against the Colts defense. And if Anthony Richardson's throwing up ducks and fumbling the ball and whatever, I mean, the Texans have no problem. If they could, the Texans would let Mixon touch the ball 35
times. Yeah.
Right. And in this spot, maybe that happens. And then here's the one that's going to be the popular one du jour, the sexy one, which I'm not high on. He's 6,200, Devon Achane in a Tua-led offense. But the thing is that Mostert is back, and Mostert is healthy. And
we don't have to do it. We don't have to gamble on 12 to 18 touches, right? Like we can zero that range of touches to 15 to 20 instead of going with someone who can go 11 or he can go, 18. We can have higher ceilings of touches.
I also don't mind, Alex. Alex, I also don't mind if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is inactive again. Kareem Hunt at 6,300 against the Raiders seems like that's
that seems automatic to me.
Right,
Kareem Hunt kind of seems automatic to me. He's getting the ball close to the end zone. He's getting a lot of carries. He's getting a lot of snaps. He can still catch passes. He's Kareem Hunt. No, I mean, there aren't a lot of guys to catch passes in the Chiefs offense right now. So if you tell me, Patrick Mahomes, we were talking about, Bo Nix running the football when he doesn't have a look. Patrick Mahomes is going short when he doesn't have a look, and he doesn't have the guys getting separation downfield. So why not?
I just feel like that this is the type of slate where I'm playing Tyreek Hill, I'm playing Kate Otten, and then I'm just playing as many of these running back, like whatever running, like
Yep.
I seriously like.
Breece Hall is a great call.
Right.
Breece Hall is a great call.
Where we've named all these running backs, but like to rank them all, I think they all fall in like a bucket of like pick the 3 out of this bunch that you like, and I think they're all as of this point. Obviously, it's Wednesday. Stuff happens to injury reporting and everything like that. But I feel as if like I don't need to spend up at wide receiver when I could just play these guys. Like it feels like a balance build type of week where I'm playing 6K, 7K running backs. I'm playing 5K, 6K, 7K wide receivers, a $3,500 tight end, a 5K, 6K quarterback, and a cheap defense. And like, there you go. Like you don't, there's no like, paying for CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson at 9K, or paying for Derrick Henry, Saquon Bartlett, and paying for a 9K Christian McCaffrey when he comes back. Like I don't like. Well, what's the most expensive running? Like Derrick Henry's 8,100 on the slate.
I was gonna say we haven't talked about Derrick Henry. We can another thing you can do after plugging in those cheap wide receivers and maybe you only spend the 5,600 on Bo Nix. You can just look at the spreads and you can play the spreads at running back, right? Like Derrick Henry is 8,100, and maybe you don't want to spend 8,100 on Derrick Henry because he doesn't catch passes, but it's a huge spread, and it's Derrick Henry. Like this guy's he's running angry right now. And then we could. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is in play. I normally don't like playing that timeshare, but Jahmyr Gibbs is getting the ball a lot. It's a big spread. We talked about Joe Mixon. We're on the same page with Joe Mixon that he could get the ball 30, 35 times. That's what they want to do with him. Josh Jacobs is in that mold where he could get it 20, 25 times. Breece Hall is going to get the ball a lot. Even if he doesn't get 20, 25 carries, Aaron Rodgers is very conscious of his completion percentage. He always has been. And when the coverage is there, he will dump it down to Breece Hall on a 3rd and 9 to get 3 yards because he doesn't want to throw an incompletion. He's very conscious of that. I don't think that's a controversial take. And then, we've already talked about Javonte Williams. It's a huge spread. What is that, 9 points? Something like that, 8 or 9 points. And then Kareem Hunt's in a 10-point spread. So we can just play the spreads. If you're confused by the projections, because the projections are kind of close and a lot of these guys get jumbled up, you can look at the spreads and just take the guys in the blowouts who are going to get the ball a lot.
Right, because what ends up happening is that the projections of two players like look similar, right? You look at Kareem Hunt versus let's just say Kareem Hunt versus Tony Pollard, right? 6,500, 6,300, right? Now Tony Pollard, if Spears is out again and pretty much has the backfield to himself against Detroit as an 11-point underdog, like he'll see some rushes, but he got 6 targets out of the backfield, so he's gonna get some PPR stuff, PPR scam, as people would say. But how many points does he need for you to kill you? And like, I'd much rather rely on if CEH isn't active, I'll take Kareem Hunt giving the ball 20 to 25 times with the Chiefs having the lead and Kareem Hunt scoring 1, 2, 3 touchdowns. His upside is touchdowns. Tony Pollard, it's like and Chuba Hubbard, those types of guys.
Yeah, Hubbard and Pollard, you're trying to get a touchdown from their catches.
Right.
You're like praying for a touchdown worth of catches,
Right, and then if they also get a touchdown on top of that, and their team still lose by 2 touchdowns, now they have 20 points. Now they have 22 points in a losing effort. But I much rather rely on teams that are favored, that are going to get up and run the ball a lot and score points and have possession, right? Because it's not just like, they're going to be up and running the ball. It's like, well, like if you want to play Derrick Henry under that same regard, it's like, dude, Cleveland may not be able to move the ball. So Cleveland goes 3 and out, and then Baltimore has another 6-minute drive. Cleveland goes 3 and out, and then Baltimore has another 6-7-minute drive. And next thing you know, like one team has called like 3 times as many plays as the other team by the end of the game, and you'd rather have the running back on a team that had 78 plays rather than a team that had 36 plays, right? So that's really what it comes down to. When you go, oh, I'm going to play Hubbard against the Broncos, it's like, why aren't you playing Javonte Williams? It's like, well, McLaughlin is there, and they're shifting. It's like, dude, the last game they got up and they just fed Javonte, and he had like the best game of pretty much the best game of his career.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're going to get a little scared. You're going to get a little scared playing Javonte because Sean Payton does rotate the running backs early in the game. But once he has a lead, he's going to give it to the one guy. So don't pay attention if he only gets 4 or 5 touches in that, the first 20, 25 minutes of the game. He's going to close. Something going back to the Ravens, we saw something a little unique from the Ravens last week in a blowout where they were still kind of in Lamar make a play mode when they were up by like 20 points. I don't think that's going to happen this week. I think Cleveland's a little harder hitting. So I think they're going to lean on Derrick Henry very heavily in the end game. And when I say end game, I'm talking like final 25 minutes of this game. I think they're going to get up big early and feed Henry a lot to close out.
Lastly, DST. Do you think there's going to be some like chalk, like super
I don't
chalk?
See it.
I don't see it. Maybe the Falcons at 2,600.
I have the Falcons checked off, and I have the Patriots checked off. If we're not playing Breece Hall, there is Aaron Rodgers throwing a lot of interceptions. It's cheap. You could get 2 cheap interceptions. The problem is they're going to give up some points, so you might only be looking at 8 to 10 points, but it's cheap. The Falcons are probably at the top of my list just because Baker Mayfield is having a good season for Baker Mayfield, but I think Baker Mayfield is a guy who needs weapons. He's not weapons proof, and he does not have the weapons. So if we end up going to like Brock Bowers, because we're going to have some money. So if you want to spend on, you could play Otten and the Falcons. It's not stupid.
Right. Well, I'm talking about,
but I think we might actually.
The chat's saying Ravens, but the Ravens are 3,400, so that's not
what I consider that's not cheap. No.
Right, the Chargers, the Jets, the Ravens. I mean, like, if you have the money for that, sure. I'm talking about, we always have these like, oh, the one cheap defense that is, in cash games and double ups is like 40% on. Like, is there going to be that on this slate? I'm not exactly sure. Bills,
and I'm gonna spend that $700 or $800 on running back.
I think you can have the money. I think for
we
defense,
might have the money. Yeah, we might have the money.
You can play the Chargers at 3,400 or the Ravens at 35.
Yeah,
I think it's absolutely perfectly. It comes down to like, do I want to play Bo Nix at quarterback or do I want to pay like 200 more for Geno Smith? And it's like, no, I'll just play Bo Nix and I have 200 left and then just put it at the defense spot.
That's
right,
totally fine.
Right, you're playing Tyreek at 7. I mean, like, dude, you're playing Tyreek at 7K. You're playing Otten at 3,500. You're playing Bo Nix at 5,600. You're playing like Breece Hall and another like once you fit this stuff together, you may end up with like 3,500 in defense and go, well, if I go down to the Falcons and I have 900 left, where am I playing the 900? I'm like going from 900 from who to who. It's like I'm not changing any of these things. I mean,
because the gaps in the positions that we were talking about, like at quarterback, we're talking about $1,000, $1,200 gaps. At running back, we're talking about gaps between 6,300 and like 8K or 7,500. So those are much larger gaps. We're going to have a smaller gap to spend at DST. I can see that.
It's not like I'd be able to go from Javonte Williams to Breece Hall at 7,300 or to Joe Mixon at 7,700.
Yeah.
Right. Or I'm not going to be able to go from Jalen McMillan to Drake London. Right. For 900 in salary. It's just a weird thing there. But that's as of now on Wednesday. Right. So on Friday, I'll be here talking about GPP stuff with Squirrel Patrol. But Alex, you have tomorrow I'll be on with Will doing props and pick'em shit. Right. But Alex, you also have Prize Pick stuff.
I'm just doing Prize Picks articles. Yeah. We preview the Sunday afternoon. We're doing articles every prime time. So Thursday night specifically, TJ does Sunday nights and then I do Monday nights. Prize Picks are the great streets. I mean, you turned me on to Prize Picks actually about a year and a half ago. I was so disgruntled with cash games. No, was it a year and a half ago? Maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, about a little over 2
It
years
sounds
ago.
like I was sick of cash games come November because everyone was just playing too good. And you said just play Prize Picks, and it replaced a lot of my cash game volume, and it's really saved me because GPPs have been rough the last couple of years. So
Yeah, well, I mean, the GPP is a roller coaster, and that you need a little
GPPs are tough.
consistency.
Yeah.
Right. And then once I squeezed all I can out of Prize Picks and Underdog, now I got regulated sports books here in Kentucky. And also Prize Picks and Underdog kind of fixed their loopholes with their correlation rules where you can't just play anyone you want and oh, well, these guys are correlated, yet I'm still getting the same payout. Well, give me more of this. Give me more of this.
Yeah.
They ding you now. You can't do that anymore. But yeah, so hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Thummy thumbs. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. Like I said, tomorrow, props and pick 'em with Will. Friday, GPP strategy with Squirrel Patrol, John Breslin. And with the NBA, we got NBA back. Are you excited? I'm not. But I mean, but a lot of people are. A lot of people are excited for NBA.
Hey, be excited. I'm happy for you. If you've got no kids and you've got 3 hours to click around and click refresh, go for it. I'm retired from NBA. I retired in 2021, and I'm good. I take January, February, March. I take a nap. I read books. I take
Alex,
naps.
I've already seen what's going on in NBA. It's the first game of the season. There's already like questions on whether or not people are ready to play. Like, is this guy going to play? It's the first game, people. What are we doing here? What is going on?
I can't do it. Hey, if you've got the time, God bless you. NBA cash is, in terms of, quantity of money, there's so much money in NBA cash still. I don't have the time. I don't have the mental energy. I don't have the mental health for it. Frankly, I don't have the testicular fortitude to just do it all the time. I did it for a long time. I did it for 8 years, and I'm done.
But we have a projection team that works overtime, right? They're always
excellent.
in Slack arguing over stuff. So use our projections here for your NBA DFS play. We have all the premium content. Click on that link in the description. Get $40 off your first month of a combo premium subscription. So you get NFL, NBA, college basketball, college football, got NHL. You get everything. So join us here at RotoGrinders. Join us in the Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. And I will see you tomorrow, as I'm always here Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, talking about all things you're thinking about in daily fantasy, props, and pick 'em on RotoGrinders Today.